Hey guys, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today's topic: if there were no consequences to how you feel, how would you feel? So this is a little bit of a follow-up to yesterday's video that I put out, where I was really just trying to get you to, what's the purpose of the pain? To protect you from the brutal truth of how you're feeling. What's really wrong. So if there were no consequences, this is a little bit of follow-up here. If there were no consequences, no social consequences, no consequences for whatever, your marriage, your friendships, your parenting, your mother, you're taking care of your parents or whatever, if there were no social consequences to you feeling a certain way, how would you truly feel? And I want you to use that to eliminate the filter that many of us put on our feelings, right? I shouldn't feel that way. I shouldn't feel this way. I shouldn't feel that way. They're my mom, they're my daughter, they're my son, they're my boyfriend, they're my husband, they're whomever, right? I shouldn't feel that way is a filter that basically says these emotions are no good. So, if there was no social consequences to you feeling a certain way, how would you feel? Take off that filter and let it rip, whether it be journaling or whether it be just sitting and feeling your emotions. Do this in the privacy of your own head, in your own bedroom, your own bathroom, your own car. This is for you, right? We're not here to share this. We are not saying feel the deepest, darkest stuff and vomit that on everybody around us. What we're saying is give yourself permission, give yourself the gift of truly honoring where you are and what you are feeling. Because it is those emotions that scare us so much, because there may be so many social consequences attached to them. Those are the emotions we've most likely locked up and are trying to keep locked up, because those emotions have so many consequences they scare us. And we really don't want to admit at all that we might truly dislike somebody in our family, or the person you're married to, or yourself, right? Because if you truly admit how disapproving you are of yourself, then, oh my God, then you gotta face that you are a bad person. That's the judgment, right? So if there were no social consequences, no consequences at all, it's just, these are feelings. They fleet by us like, the wind. They don't mean anything. They really don't mean anything. You get to define the meaning of your emotions. The meaning is you're a human being, and sometimes we get really angry. Sometimes we get really sad. But that's okay. That doesn't mean anything. It's okay, nothing happened. You got sad, you got angry, you got in a rage. So what? You're not a bad person. You're not insane. You're not out of control. You're just pissed off. Why is that such a bad thing? And so I'm not encouraging people to express their emotions and vomit them on everybody around them. And perhaps you may think that, well, if I truly allow myself to feel how pissed off I am at my spouse, well, then I'm going to act in a different way with them. Well, look, let's understand that sometimes adult conversations are needed. But if you wait until the pressure cooker blows its lid, and that is when you have this adult conversation with a spouse, a partner, a boyfriend, girlfriend, parent, kid, that adult conversation is not going to be too adult, because it's going to be dripping with whatever rage or anger that you've got. So by honoring the feelings first, by truly allowing yourself to deeply feel that which you're feeling, that adult conversation is going to be had with a much cooler head, because you've taken the lid off of that pressure cooker and you've allowed it to simmer down. And now when we are not quite as emotionally charged, we can think straight, right? When we are in fight or flight, we're in that chronic state of, I want to scream. All of the blood goes to our fighting mechanisms, our fleeing mechanisms, our arms, our legs, and even to the subconscious mind, right? They've done scientific studies and proven that the conscious mind is no longer in control when you are in the stress response mode, the fight or flight mode. And the subconscious is. Well, the subconscious is kind of where all those programs are. So if you want to have an adult conversation with somebody and have it be well-meaning, reasoned, adult, and nice and cool, calm, and respectful, you're going to want to simmer that pot down, turn down the heat before you have that conversation, so the conscious, cool, collected mind can play participation in that conversation. But this video is really not about adult conversations. They can be necessary, and trust me, I avoided these adult conversations for years with my ex-wife when we were still married, because I was afraid of these conversations and where they would lead, and oh my God, I just didn't want to have that conversation. It was going to be uncomfortable. I didn't know if I would hurt her, if she would hurt me. Excuse me. We avoid all that stuff. And so, if there were no consequences and you could just pour your heart out on paper, or sit quietly in private and cry or rage and know that nobody was going to get hurt, nobody was going to read it, nobody was going to find out about it, but you just really want to give a voice, an internal voice, a piece of paper voice, just a feeling voice to an emotion that's been screaming to be felt, screaming in your body with the pain or other symptoms, screaming to be felt. What if you could give yourself permission to honor that? What would you truly feel if there were no social consequences, no consequences on your life or your marriage or your kids or your parents or whomever? What would you really feel in the privacy of your own heart and head? That's what I'm encouraging you to do, is step into that and realize that these emotions don't make you a bad person. If you still believe that, you got to do the assignment I gave you, which is, it's the first part of my self-assessment. And if you haven't seen it, go to painforyou.com, enter your email, and download the self-assessment, because the first part of that self-assessment is for you to really sit and think about, what do you believe about yourself if you feel anger, rage, sadness, guilt, shame, fear, grief? Analyzing that is going to give you a really clear picture as to why you repress. And for all those people who say, but I don't repress my emotions. I'm very emotional. I feel them. I cry. I get angry. Right? You probably do. And this self-assessment, the first part of it, will allow you to see why and what those judgments are about yourself. So do that exercise. Go there, download the self-assessment, painforyou.com. It's free. There's nothing for sale there. And just give yourself the gift of looking at your own self-judgments if you feel certain ways. And if you ever catch yourself saying, I'm pissed, but I shouldn't be. That's my mom. That's my dad. That's my spouse. That's my partner. That's my kid. I shouldn't be mad. You're literally saying, I'm feeling this way, but I need to lock this up because that has social consequences. That feeling is dangerous. So I'm going to wrap it up here, because that's really the point I wanted to make in this video. I just want to give you permission, and I want you to give yourself permission to get as dark as those feelings really are. Is there somebody in your life who really drives you crazy? But because there are consequences to admitting that, we just smile and suck it up. And there are probably many marriages or family relationships where we do that. I know I did for a long time in my marriage. I'm not blaming my years of pain on her. I'm not blaming it on anybody. It just happened. But I'm just suggesting there are plenty of times where because we don't want to suffer the consequences of the emotions if we shared them, we hold them in, we lock them up, we slam them down the basement and lock the door. So give yourself the permission to feel the guttural, brutal truth of what your feelings really are. And that will set you free. It will give you the outlet for all of these emotions that have been caged up inside of your body and screaming in pain or other symptoms. Burning, tingling, numbness, weakness, whatever it may be. Gastrointestinal problems, heartburn, right? Give these pains a voice, but just for you. You don't have to share this. If you're writing it down on paper, shred or burn that paper. If you're doing it on a computer screen and typing away, don't save the document. Because if you do and somebody finds it and they realize how angry or hateful you may be with them, that will have consequences. But you don't need to share it with the person that you're angry with. You just need to share it with yourself and give yourself that permission. So I hope this makes sense. And if you see a theme here between yesterday and today, the theme is really, you got to get honest with yourself about how you're really, really feeling. Because if you don't, we're just going to avoid, push away, lock up, and repress these emotions that need to be felt. If you remember, holding an open house for your emotions means they are welcome guests. If you are reluctant to feeling any of these emotions, then you're basically telling them, go away when they knock on the door. Right? You got to let them in. You got to sit with them. You got to be with them. All emotions are cool. And I'm going to get to that in the next video. So, what do you think about this? Please comment below. Let me know your thoughts. I've got tons and tons and tons of ideas. I literally have hundreds of brainstorm ideas that I can use in these videos. And there are common themes here because this isn't as complicated as we make this out to be. So, if you have a thought or a question that you'd like me to answer in a future video or a video topic suggestion, I'm going to post a quick little post that says, hey, video topics requested, and comment below and let me know what you think. So I'll try to remember to do that tomorrow. Or you can just send me an email if you don't want your question to be public. Just send me an email to questions@painfreeyou.com. questions@painfreeyou.com. So, again, if there were no consequences to you feeling a certain way, if you were really allowed to get as rageful, hateful, shameful, guilty, hurt, sad, grief-ridden, if there were no consequences and nobody were watching, what would you feel? So do that, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.